On today's show, alternative healthcare.
Dr. Ben Lerner is a chiropractor, nutritionist, and fitness trainer. His breakthrough strategies are part of a growing movement to transform the way we approach healthcare. Dr. Lerner began his practice in 1994, and years later he co-founded Maximize Living, a transforming health and wellness program. Often educating audiences on health and creating resources, Dr. Lerner has authored several New York Times best-selling books on health, and he's the chairman of the Wellness Advisory Council for Sports. A former All-American wrestler, he frequently consults with Olympic teams optimizing peak performance health. From Florida, please welcome Dr. Ben Lerner.
Welcome back. Thank you. Good to have you. Okay, I am fascinated about this topic. As a pastor, you know, you love people, and thousands are attending our churches and different sites, and healthcare is just the hugest issue. We believe in prayer. We believe in that whole spiritual side. We see God doing phenomenal miracles. But this whole area of health, I feel lied to a lot, to tell you the truth. So anyway, I'm glad you're here, and I'm starting to already complain. But what do you mean by alternative healthcare?
Of course, being from America, healthcare is all we talk about.
Yeah.
We can't afford it. And the only way we'll ever really be able to afford it is to have less sick people. Mm-hmm. The problem is we're not trying to create less sick people. We're just trying to figure out how to treat all the sick people that are there. And so with alternative healthcare, it's actual real healthcare. It's not sick care. It's actually what can we do to actually get people well. That's really what makes a difference between sort of standard, traditional, conventional medicine and what we would call alternative healthcare.
I had a doctor on yesterday. We were talking, and actually we talked this one in the green room, and he made the comment that we spend more on healthcare in America than any other country in the world. I think all combined. He had this stat, and we're dead last with actual health. One of the top reasons people die is mistreatment.
Yeah, well, actually, there's an old study where in California, the medical doctors went on strike and the death rate went down.
Oh. That's pretty bad. Yeah. Talk to us about alternative healthcare. Where do we start with this?
You know, it really starts with that term health. So we would call medical care, or traditional medical health care, is really sick care or crash care. We wait till somebody's crashed, then try and do something about it. And it's a dicey space to be in, where we say, how do we maximize somebody's health? So what are the steps we can take? And so we look at things like what are sources of interference. So if we've got toxins in the body, if we're eating the wrong foods, if we're not exercising, if your spine is out of alignment, these are all things that interfere with your body's ability to function. If you're not resting, your body can't function. So if somebody walks into a doctor, like walk into doctors in America each and every single day with depression, they don't say, well, you know, let's get to the root causes of that. Let's remove those interferences, get you functioning better again, changing your physiology, getting you happier again and more joyful in your life. That is not even close to the process. What happens there is we just give you a medication that has a whole host of side effects that can be very dangerous. So it's not to say that if you're depressed, it doesn't sound great to have something that would be a quick fix or quick solution, but we don't look to say, hey, how do we actually get you healthier so the condition would actually go away? So we come from a perspective that the body's powerful, designed by God to be healthy and whole if treated properly, if we align our lifestyle with His intentions, that we would be well. And that's not the major premise of medicine, but it is the premise of what we do in more of a natural healthcare community, or what we call maximize living. How do we maximize your function so you get well or don't get sick in the first place? And so by looking at causes of interference, the idea is that the body's designed to function healthy and normally. You're designed to be happy and whole. But if we do things to ourselves that interrupt that, that's when we start to get sick. And so we want to find out what are the causes. So like in our Cancer Killer show, we said the cause is the cure, that we find the causes of getting sick and getting cancer in the first place, remove the causes so the body can cure itself. Any disease you walk into my office with in America today, or any of our 500 clinics around North America and the world, whatever you walk in with, we don't necessarily say, well, let's treat that. Let's treat the headache, or let's treat the foot pain, or the cancer, or the stomach problem. We say, well, let's look at what's interfering with good health, remove those interferences, get you on a path of good lifestyle, and watch everything be restored so you're whole and healthy again.
That is so well said. I think a common misconception is that a drug heals you. But even the doctors will admit there are no drugs out there that heal you. It might attack something, it's your body that does all the healing every time. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, in fact, if you take a drug, they say you have to recover twice, once from the condition and also a second from the drug.
Yep.
That's just a fact. Every drug has a side effect, and many of them are, like you hear in the commercials, your eyeballs fall out and your ears fall off and you get 7 kinds of cancer. That's because we've only treated a symptom, and actually we really shut something down, like even in the case of, say, depression. The actual medication you take, which are these SSRIs, these inhibitors of serotonin absorption, you're actually shutting down the brain's ability or lessening its ability to reabsorb serotonin, with the idea that this theory that if I had more of it in my brain, I'd suddenly be happy. So I obviously haven't made you healthier. I've actually created a brain pathology in an effort to help you overcome what is a debilitating, brutal problem. But if you look at something like exercise, exercise actually has a far better methodology, a better way of increasing serotonin in the brain, because of something that you're supposed to be doing naturally. So Duke University found that exercise was better than the 2 leading antidepressants at overcoming depression. And so again, we're addressing a limiting factor. There's not enough oxygen in the system, you're not moving enough, and this is one of the causes leading to how you're feeling emotionally. Let's address that cause and get you healthy again, not permanently on a drug with side effects.
We actually have conditioned an entire society, I feel, to be busy but lazy. So we'll go to make money, but I don't want to work out. Just give me a pill. And that pill's got to make me lose weight, got to get rid of my cancer, got to take away my hair loss, got to do all this. Just give me a pill. And I'll take pills if you'll promise me something. And they won't even research it. And it's back to these powerful basics. I was just talking to a doctor the other day who's a Chinese doctor. And so that's his whole area. And I love all the variety of areas that are out there. And he was making a comment that in his mind, he said, their method of medicine is to make organs healthy, very much like you're saying, whereas Western medicine simply attacks the disease. Would that be similar to what you're talking about?
Absolutely. The idea is restoring health. I think the better way of saying alternative healthcare or alternative medicine is that alternatives are looking to restore health, where medicine's looking to treat a condition or disease.
Right.
And that's the big separation. Interesting to what you just said there, the British Medical Journal actually has a phrase for what you're saying. They call it medicalization. So it's not to say that we're not thankful medicine's there. There's not to say that there aren't absolutely really important and necessary times when we need medication. And again, I really understand somebody's really hurting, and if a pill sounds great, I understand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with medicalization, what they're saying is that the more the medical mindset and the influx of drugs comes into a community, they didn't say the sicker the community got, but the sicker they considered themselves to be. So if there's medications available and there's this quick fix solution, the tendency is to call everything a disease.
Right.
So they talk about now this sort of manufacturing of illness, they call it also, where it's like, hey, you know that your leg is having trouble? We'll call it restless leg syndrome, and we've got a pill for that. And so we medicalize an individual rather than empowering them to change their lifestyle, start living healthier and better, and get well.
I went to see a doctor because I wasn't feeling great, and he gave me a diagnosis. I can't remember what it was. And then I went and saw, it actually was a guy who was more into natural health care and very learned. And so he examined me, and I immediately lost respect for him because he couldn't pinpoint and name the disease. So I'm kind of looking at him going like, wow, you just missed the whole thing. But he did tell me where I wasn't healthy when it came to organs and things and what I should be taking. So when he got done, I'm kind of just, yeah, you know, you didn't even nail my problem. Because I walked in here and I know that I have this issue. And he goes, you know, he says, we don't diagnose. He did exactly what you just said. All he did was find out where I was unhealthy or not as healthy and help me to get healthy. And he didn't care what the names were of diseases.
Yeah, and we have to be trained in differential diagnosis to be chiropractors, and so all of our doctors know how to do that. But we want to instill hope.
Yeah.
We want to focus on healing, because if I label you something and you then own it,
words are curses.
Yeah, we have really set ourselves up for failure if we take that approach.
Okay, we're going to take a break right here. Man, we're having fun. When we come back, we're going to keep going on this. You don't want to miss this. I'll be right back with Dr. Ben Lerner.
When you put it all together, we really are removing all the interferences, maximizing your potential so that you can achieve God's purposes. That's the mission of my life.
We believe Jesus Christ came to give every person on this planet a chance to live with power, passion, and purpose. Through award-winning, world-class TV programs like this and life-giving resources in Spanish, French, Italian, Russian, and Hindi, Spirit Contemporary is changing lives around the world. Considerable expenses are involved, but each person reached is absolutely worth the cost. People are saved, their faith revived, eternities transformed, all because of your support. With your donation today, you will receive today's special resource.
Welcome back. My guest today is Dr. Ben Lerner, who wrote the book Body by God. You need to get it and make sure that you walk towards health. Well, I was just asking you, okay, how can we've had some great programs, how can we really help people to close this off? And you said we need to give them the 5 essentials. All right, let's do it. Let's unpack the 5 essentials.
Yeah, so I've been doing since I wrote Body by God 10 years ago, we've been opening up clinics all over the world that offer these 5 essentials to health. And it took a long time to figure out what are these sort of key 5 areas, because some people would say, well, it's just nutrition. But there are people who eat well, they're thin, but still end up with disease. Some people think, well, I'm in great shape, so since I'm so fit and I have abs, now I'm obviously healthy. I don't even need to worry about what I'm eating. And then we find people's spines are breaking down, their nerves are shot, and so even though they're doing everything else right, this is killing them. So the 5 essentials is approaching this from a holistic way. When Jesus talked about health, he talked about hugies, which was wholeness. And so we like the term wholeness when we're looking at rebuilding somebody. That's even as we get into essential number 1, which is maximize mind. That's why we go right to the Bible with that, because if we're not spiritually whole, if we're not good in our soul, mind, body, and spirit here, then we struggle. So in fact, you could be looking great because of your diet and exercise, but you could be miserable and unspiritual, and that doesn't work. So we start first with essential 1, maximize mind. And the 2 areas there are 1, just understanding what truly is health, having the right mindset about it, having a hopeful, positive mindset about it, but then also taking care of your brain, getting rest, eating foods that help to nourish the brain, forgiveness, peace in your life. We have to address that area first.
Yeah, even the Bible clearly says in 3 John 2, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. And the word soul there is talking about the mind, the emotions, forgiving, how you're thinking. Yeah. So that's number 1.
Yeah, and then number 2 is your nervous system. So most people don't think much about their back until it hurts, but actually your brain communicates to the whole body through your spine. So if the spine is breaking down, which is really common today thanks to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and the advent of a computer in every home and iPhones and all the things that we're dealing with today, our head is down, we're in our desks and in our desk chairs constantly, the spine is degenerating, and these nerves are damaged. And so suddenly the brain can no longer coordinate our physiology the way it needs to, and that's another way we lead to poor health and disease, again, even if we were doing other things right.
Okay, I still meet people who think that chiropractors, that they would never do it because they still don't understand it. 30 years ago, when I was being trained as a paramedic and we'd go out to accident scenes, we were taught on the spine from the perspective of if it was broken, you could tell where it was broken because of how the body was functioning. And now that's in a brutal sense. In a good sense, if people can just get this through their head, that the brain comes all the way down your back in a way. Is that right?
Right, right.
And there's little nerves, pathways, I'm getting it all messed up. I'm trying to make it really, really simple for people like me that are out there. It goes out to every organ. It is serving every organ. So when your spine starts to be out and pinch it, then it's going to affect your digestion, sexuality, I mean, literally every function in the body. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when I taught anatomy and physiology to pre-med students at a college in Florida, and we had to dissect a frog. And if you pick up the spine and nerves, the organs just dangle off the nerves. And so
Really?
the brain speaks to the organs through the spine and nerves. And so when that spine's breaking down due to years and years of being bent over your iPod or iPad or your Apple computer, whatever you're doing, it does affect your whole health, doesn't just cause a headache or a neck pain.
So when you go see a chiropractor, all he's doing is gently helping you to get back into the location for your spine that God intended it to be.
Yeah, it's restoring alignment, opening up the nerve channels so the organs can function at their maximum capacity, as well as muscles and other tissues so you feel better.
Do you find some people with that alone just begin to blossom?
We see amazing results there's studies on adjustments in depression. There's studies on adjustments in high blood pressure.
Depression too.
Oh yeah, so because where the brain comes out and meets the cord is right here. So as this part up at the top of the neck, in particular where the skull meets the spine, when there's pressure there, it really affects brain physiology. And again, because it's dealing with the absorption of nutrients and nutrients passing up and down in between the body and the brain, there's a lot to do with brain health, not just the rest of your body. And then, of course, for a lot of people aren't aware of blood pressure. So there was a study done, medical study, that compared chiropractic care to 2 blood pressure medications, and the chiropractic care was more effective.
Really?
And so, that's, again, just based on chiropractic and physiology, a connection people don't really understand.
So that was number 2?
That was 2, essential number 2. Essential number 3 is nutrition. So most people, that's what they think is the mainstay of health. It is crucially important. But we call it maximizing the quality of nutrients. What people tend to think about nutrition is diet. But a diet can get to where you're really missing good nutrients. You're not focused on the proper fruits and vegetables and quality fats and the good quality proteins, and being more paleo-based, where you're actually keeping a low on the carbohydrates and higher on the fats and proteins as a percentage of your calorie intake. It's the right type of diet that really helps here, and it's maximizing nutrients, not just dropping a few pounds.
So what would you normally have for breakfast?
So we tend to focus, again, I'm thinking good fats first. I actually call our diet a diet based on desserts. Okay. Because when we think of dessert, we think of cheating and sugar. So I actually have a lot of times, I will make avocado pudding for breakfast. And if you actually taste it and see the consistency, it actually tastes just like chocolate pudding. We can actually trick our kids into thinking they're getting pudding for dessert, and it's avocado. And the ingredients are a quality whey protein that we make that's undenatured, so it's good quality protein. Stevia is the sweetener instead of sugar. Avocado and some organic unsweetened cocoa powder, and it comes out, you mix it in a blender, comes out just like chocolate pudding. Really? I'll put some berries on top of it. I feel like I'm cheating, but it's this really high quality, healthy meal, with very low in sugar, high in quality fats, and a little bit of protein.
So there probably are alternatives to everything you really like, because our first thinking is to eat healthy, you have to give up all good tasting food, and you got to eat just cardboard. But you're saying, no, probably everything can be done differently.
Yeah, and my dad, who's a driver in my story, he lost 1,000 pounds in his lifetime, but died at 50 weighing exactly the same, constantly up and down, because it was always carrot sticks and celery and cottage cheese when he was dieting. But for me, dieting means cookies and brownies and pudding. I'm eating all stuff that would be considered junk food. My teenager always says I'm cheating the system. But it's all sweetened with stevia. It has no grains, no sugars, and it's made up of good nutrients. So I'm maximizing my nutrients while eating dessert at every meal.
What you just said still takes time. It's not as easy as just pouring milk on a cornflakes and throwing sugar on it and go off to school. There's preparation, there's thought, it's how you purchase it, it's organic, all these different things. So it takes some time, and you've got to make some decisions to live this way.
Yeah, and you get in a rhythm, though. You find the foods you like, you find the ones that are easier to make at certain times. You get used to preparing more meals at a time than one, so that you're ready for the next couple of meals. So we're in a rhythm. We're a crazy busy family, 3 kids. Wife and I both are all over the place. We're both athletes, and we're crazy. But we eat well because we take the time to shop. We're in a rhythm of what we like to eat, and we know how to make it efficient, and so it works. That we found what the kids love, and just keep making that. So it does work, but there is an investment initially to figuring it out.
Yeah, so that's number 3.
Number 3, essential number 4 is exercise, but we call it maximizing oxygen and lean muscle. The benefit of exercise is maximizing oxygenation of the system. Cancer hates oxygen. it's oxygen and not vitamin C or an apple. That's our most important nutrient that the body needs for good health. And so by doing, and we teach a particular type of exercise, which is this short duration, high intensity. So it's over quick, so it's easy to do. It takes less time than some people shave in a day, but you get in the shape of your life, you change your physiology, maximize oxygenation, which helps with brain function, which helps fight depression, helps to fight Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, helps to fight cancer, and also helps you to look a lot better in your bikini or your Speedo as well. So,
when we talk about oxygenation, are you saying that if all of a sudden you do jog on the spot or skip or something to get that your heart is pounding and you're breathing and it's blasting oxygen into your bloodstream?
Right.
To every cell, right to the furthest toes, fingers.
Yeah, and great, when that's happening, great things are happening in your body. The instant you start breathing like that, good things happen. So we think of exercise, oh, if I do this for months or years, there's benefit. The second you're breathing like that, good things start to happen.
Awesome. That's 4.
That's 4. Number 5 is toxins. So they're all maximized, except for number 5 is minimize toxins. So we really are surrounded by them. You know, the artificial toothpaste we're using, to the junk food that we're eating, to what's in the air at home, to the medications that we're taking. You know, we are bombarded with toxins at this day and age, the tap water. And so we really have to take a conscious look at the toxins that are coming in, but also do things to detoxify. So I take a certain supplement. It's a daily detoxifying supplement that I take every day that helps to capture toxins and move them out of my body. So it's actually called Daily Detox. And it's something that actually has like chlorella in it, which helps to cleanse the blood. It has charcoal in it, which actually captures toxins so that it doesn't end up in the tissues. But also has something that boosts glutathione, which is something we get from raw fruits and vegetables. So a good, healthy, more plant-based diet with raw foods also builds glutathione, which is my own God-given natural detoxifier. So between good diet, being aware of what's out there toxin-wise, and avoiding some of those things, and then taking a supplement to help you detoxify, we address that 5th one. And when you put it all together, we really are removing all the interferences, maximizing your potential so that you can achieve God's purposes. That's the mission of my life.
That's awesome. You know, it is such a plethora of information out there that for people who are not trained and have not spent a lifetime looking at it, you start Googling health and natural stuff, and there's everything from ridiculous, stupid things. So it's a $1 trillion industry out there. So you almost need to make a decision, which is what I do, is just I follow people whose whole lives are to study it. They've got, like you, who've got books on this, because I'm going to spend countless hours a day trying to just get some help and not even knowing if the people I'm reading about on this Google even know what they're talking about, or some 40-year-old guy living in his mom's basement that wrote that article. You know what I mean? So I'm going to encourage people to go with this book, Body by God. And our time is up, so I want to thank you for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
And I want to encourage everyone to get the book. Follow people that you know character, their training, and as they write, then you're not lost in this big Amazon jungle of information, not knowing who do you believe, because you're going to have to believe someone at some point. And so I want to encourage you to get the book, Body by God. Thank you again for being with us, Doctor. We'll be right back.
Devoted, a daily devotional created with you in mind. Easy to read and simple to understand. These 2-minute faith boosters are available in 8 different languages. Watch it on YouTube or have the booklet sent directly to your home. You can also receive Devoted to your email inbox daily. Become inspired as Leon Fontaine shares practical biblical teaching. Devoted is literally at your fingertips. Transform your life with this Spirit Contemporary devotional. Sign up to receive Devoted today.
I'm so glad you joined us today. We love bringing you programs that really help people in everyday life. You know, our passion and our purpose is to take the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world. Now, many ministries are doing that. Why are we so ineffective, especially in North America? I believe so much of it has become religious, so much of it has become legalistic, and we call it spirit
contemporary. We want it to be spiritually alive, potent, amazing, miraculous, but yet we want it to come across in a contemporary, relevant, cool way. So we call it Spirit Contemporary. We need you to help us. It's urgent right now that around this planet we present the gospel in a way that touches every emerging generation. We cannot keep losing our kids and our grandkids. We must be able to communicate Jesus, the powerful principles of the gospel, in a way that they get it and they come on board. We would love to have you join us. Become a part of this family. You know, for $45 or more as a gift, we want to send you this series called Dreams, Calling, and Purpose. So many people get these three all mixed up. What's the difference between your dream, your calling, your purpose? They all overlap, but there are powerful indicators as to what you should be doing with your life. And we would love to send this to you. We need partners. We need people to become a part of this family and help us take the gospel around the planet. One of the things we're doing as well is taking and translating this devotional, which we want to send you as well, into a bunch of languages. I've got a list here of the ones that we are already in: English, French, Spanish, Urdu. We are in Russian, Indonesian, Mandarin, and there's more that we're working on right now because we want to begin to touch every people group. Your gift today is going to see people come to know Jesus, not just in the English-speaking world, but places where Muslims need to know Jesus, Hindus need to know Jesus, in places where it's hard for the gospel so far to really take root. We're seeing the Spirit Contemporary gospel of Jesus Christ changing lives. Go to the phone right now. Call us today. We'd love to have you be a part of what God is doing.
We trust that you are being blessed, uplifted, and encouraged in your Christian walk through today's program. As a viewer, you should know that we care about you, we value you greatly, and appreciate your prayers. Did you know that Spirit Contemporary International is taking the good news of Jesus Christ around the world through award-winning programs like this? We are actively translating ministry programs into languages like Spanish, French, Italian, and even Russian. We even air on Islamic television stations in the Middle East. This means that millions upon millions of people are hearing about Jesus Christ in their language, and it's all thanks to people like you. Considerable expenses are involved, so we need your support, because each person who gives their life to Jesus is absolutely worth the cost. Each is of infinite value to God. You are very important to us. We care greatly about your spiritual growth, which is why we would like to get today's resources into your hands. When you support this program by making a donation, you are not only enriching your walk with the Lord, you are sharing Jesus with someone on the other side of the globe. Your donation transforms lives by reaching literally millions of people with the gospel. Call now and change someone's life today.
Don't miss tomorrow's show. Leon chats with well-known author Larry Osborne on the topic of his book, Thriving in Babylon.
And that's what we can never forget. The darker it gets, the more powerful, even the tiniest of light of our Lord in our life, difference it makes.